We were giving ourselves the next 10 minutes to allow data to come to your phones. So please give us, maybe we have already used 3 minutes, the next 7 minutes. Encourage people to log on before we start. The data will find you as you are in the meeting, or it will be reimbursed. Encourage members to join. Encourage your friends, your colleagues to join.
In the next 3 minutes, I think we have gone through the required 10 minutes. I thought it is. No, their microphones are not supposed to be.
No, they are muted.
Hey.
You know, when you are logging, you have to call in music.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I think in the next 2 minutes we should be able to start. Thank you all. Thank you very much for coming in such good numbers. In spite of the weather, I know what happened on this meeting last time. I saw my auntie Joanita telling people, you know, that they need to show up in numbers. This time around, it's good she was here that time. She's here today. And so many others. I saw you making commentary on this on social and the various television stations. However, I think it's important. I tell you the people who are seated in front of us. Mercy Kainobwisho, Director, Intellectual Property, URSB. She is your biggest advocate right there in the middle. She is your biggest advocate in this thing. And I'm sure that for her and the people on that panel, all of them are lawyers normally. We have Director, Internal Audit, URSB. Basically, that's the person who looks at the books, present, past, and future. And Michael Abugo, Project Support Officer, again from URSB. Mpozo okuchiddamu mu lufuutifuuti mu bantu baffe abagenda okkifunira mu lulimi lwaffe olunansi. Bonna bonna bakalimagezi abatudde awo bakwasaganya ebintu bya intellectual property oba ebitone n'ebyamateeka ebyetoolera mu bitone n'okubitereeza mu mbeera nti omuntu bw'aba akuze ekintu kye omulimu gwe afunamu nga bwe yandifunyemu okusinga abalala bwe bandifunyemu mu kintu ekyo. Tusanyusa obbala mwenna. I think meeting eyasooka twala ebyavaamu era ne ŋŋamba nti mama waffe Joanita n'atukunga tujje era ne mutuuka bulungi nnyo era ne jjajja Ddaani namulabye ng'ali mu kuwaliramu awo mpola mpola ekigenda mu maaso. We're lucky and blessed that we have both the backward linkages of the performing artists and then we have the new people too who are also here in a listening capacity, which is good because most of the times I see them, they're the ones talking. But today, you're here to listen. Tugenda kuyita mu bwangu ebintu bino bya mateeka birina okukolebwa wadde olusubira nti byakwerabisa byakweraga bya luzunguzungu n'ate nga temubiyise mu mitendera gino tetusobola kutuuka ku kiri ekinene kye tulina okukola kikubanga oli ayinza okuva eyi n'agamba kye mwakola tekiri mu maki mu mateeka. So bano bannamateeka government nekibakwasa bakikole ki bakitereeze bwe balukitereeza ate tukibaddize kuba ate twafunye omukisa nti namba ababyegwanyiza nga nabo bannabitone nabo balina ebitone byombi ebyabiri ebirala ebimu kale nnyingi ate n'ebiri wansi mu studio kwegamba twafunye omukisa so twagala tukiyitemu mangu mangu tulabe nti tukiggusa abali ku Zoom bw'aba wali omuntu abali ku Zoom eyo mugambe nti okuwulira ebiri wano waliwo ka option bw'aba ayingizdeka app ako kamugamba dial in with voice bw'atanyiga kantu ako tajja kuwulira bifo eno so abamu bafunye okusoomoozebwa mu ngeri eyo naye nga ne ka data abakulu bano baakabataddemu abali eyo badde tebasobodde so ne batakafuna kati nga meeting egenda mu maaso meeting egenda kubeera recorded kadata kaabwe kaba bakozesezza kati bajja kafuna ate mu bungi okusinga ne kagenda okukozesa okukola ki okulaba meeting eno so mpozi ekigenda okusooka tugenda meeting eno gikwasa omutonzi nga kalimagezi waffe ate yatuvuga mu ngeri eyo.
Thank you, Debo, our MC for this morning. Good morning once again, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. Yes, allow me to call this meeting to order as we resume or reconvene. Before we proceed, we know this country is a country that is founded on godly principles. Would like to invite Mama Wafe Joanita Kawalia to lead us in prayer.
Let's humble ourselves and we pray. God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the gift of life. We call upon the Spirit to come in the midst of us as we deliberate for the good of the art of this country. And we feel you give us all the wisdom so that what we are doing today will always stay and will always be celebrating for the good of the art. I pray this through God our Lord. Amen.
Thank you very much, Madam Joanita Kawalia, a great renowned artist in Africa and beyond. This a special general meeting of the Uganda Performing Rights Society is reconvened because last time we did not raise the required quorum. And before we proceed, I would like to remind us of the agenda of the meeting. We shall have remarks, opening remarks from the Registrar General of Uganda Registration Services Bureau. We shall be receiving a report into the inquiry of the Uganda Performing Rights Society, and this will be delivered by none other than the chair of that ad hoc committee on the inquiry that was put in place by Uganda Registration Services Bureau, Mr. Ambrose Ekaju, the Director Internal Audit of URSB. Please receive him. We shall thereafter be receiving the presentation of the caretaker's report, which will touch financial operations and restructuring plan for UPRS. And this will be delivered by the caretaker managers, Mr. Kabito Karamaji, a senior lawyer in this city, and Madame Arita, yes, who is also around. Then we shall have a presentation on the amendment of the Constitution or the articles of Uganda Performing Rights Society, to allow better operations and better management. And this will also be presented by the Registrar General's Office with the UPRS caretakers. And last on the agenda will be the election of the Board of Directors, which will also be handled by the chair of this session. And the Board of Directors, as applied by you, the stakeholders, the key players in the industry, and also the Board of Directors that were selected by the regulator, Uganda Registration Services Bureau, and we will close our meeting. That is the agenda. Are we all agreeable to the agenda? Thank you very much. I will read the remarks of the Registrar General, Mr. Bemanya Twebaze, Uganda Registration Services Bureau, who has delegated me and given me the powers to represent him because he's equally handling duties of this nation. And I'll read them verbatim. Dear members of the Uganda Performing Rights Society, the caretakers present, all key stakeholders, ladies and gentlemen, a good morning. You are most welcome to this special general meeting convened pursuant to section 75(6) of the Copyright and the Neighboring Rights Act 2006. The meeting has come at a time when COVID-19 pandemic has affected everybody, every sector, every business, and every part of the economy. This COVID-19 has forced us to adjust the way we do business. It has made us adapt to the new normal, but also this COVID-19 pandemic has presented to us immense opportunities to tap into as the creative or art industry, the Performing Rights Society. The kind of meeting, the special general meeting we hold today, is one of its kind. It has not been done before in the sector or in this UPRS or this collective management society sector. It is a hybrid which has the virtual platform. We have many people on Zoom, but also a number of people represented here at UPRS premises. And because of the restrictions of the public gatherings and the observance of the standard operating procedures by the World Health Organization, our Ministry of Health that have been put in place, we are unable to host over 1,000 members of this important society in one place. Ladies and gentlemen, key players in this industry, permit me to give you a background to this journey. How did we come to this? On the 22nd of March 2017, the Registrar General, Uganda Registration Services Bureau, constituted an ad hoc committee to inquire into the constitution, the workings, the financial conditions of Uganda Performing Rights Society. This inquiry was commissioned due to the several complaints from you, the members of this industry, about the administration and operations of UPRS. The ad hoc committee was constituted and presented our findings to the Registrar General. A series of meetings were held with the board members of UPRS, and we recognize them. Most of them are here present. And a request was made to put some officers aside to allow the investigations and also caretaking process. And we thank them for cooperating for the good of this nation. Some of the issues that were cited by the ad hoc committee report will be given in detail by Mr. Ekaju. And after the findings were shared with the Registrar General, on 29 July 2019, Uganda, through URSB, took a decision to appoint caretaker managers, Mr. Kabito Karamaji and Ms. Rita Birungi of Legomac Advocates. The caretakers that I've mentioned were, among other things, assigned to inquire and provide their findings on the financial conditions of UPRS, the process of caretaking administration that was expected to take place and be concluded in 2 months. But because of the gravity of the underlying challenges in the collective management society, not only in Uganda, but in Africa, they took a full year. It was a full year that they took after thinking that they would conclude this work in 2 months. But this full year was not in vain, and you will listen from the caretaker managers when it comes to delivering their report. There were many challenges of the collective management society, specifically UPRS, that were discovered, including lack of systems, processes, issues of corporate governance and administration. And today, as we gather in this special general meeting called by the regulators, URSB, our interest is in the future of UPRS because it has potential to contribute a lot to this economy. I know the sector already is contributing a lot, but it can do a lot of contribution. We are interested in seeing collective efforts of all artists, collective management, putting in place systems that will work for us as a nation, ensuring that the people that invest their time and resources, you the artists, benefit from their sweat. We want to see a Uganda where users and consumers of music products pay for that work. We want to see a Uganda where works are protected, where those that infringe or abuse the works are dealt with by the law. We want to see music commercialization being taken at another level. We want to see utilization benefit all key stakeholders. And this is the picture we want to bring you today, that UPRS has a lot of potential to change every household in this industry, in this country, because it employs so many people. The venues will not be utilized if the music industry is dying. We will not enjoy the entertainment sector. The hotel industry cannot do without the music sector. All businesses rely on the music sector, including the broadcasting agencies. Let us learn to respect music. If we have been sinning by making unauthorized copies of the music played or performed by our artists without paying, it is time to confess and become born again in that respect, because the law is going to catch up with you. Fellow Ugandans and residents of Uganda, sometimes you have to put yourselves in the shoes of this artist who creates the work, comes up with the lyrics, hires a venue, buys costumes, hires vehicles, has to pay rent, has to pay for all the facilities to come up with a product, to entertain you in your household, to entertain you on television. Do you pay for that work? You as a user, you as a broadcasting agency, how much have you paid to our artists? It is time to wake up. And it is through being a member of UPRS that you and I will benefit as individuals, but also as a country. We are very optimistic as Uganda Registration Services Bureau because we are soaring. We are raising the tide as musicians, as the music sector and all stakeholders. As I conclude, we cannot forget the hard work of the people that put and held UPRS for these years. We cannot forget it. We cannot also forget the hard work of you, the artists that make UPRS be. And it's going to be better because I've seen the registration increase and the caliber of musicians that have come on board. It's going to be better. So for those that have not registered, please register. We also appreciate the many challenges that collective management societies continue to face in Africa. And we want to assure you that Uganda is going to be the hub of the best collective management society, as long as you respect the law, as long as we work together, as long as you cooperate and put the right processes and structures in place. UPRS has a lot of potential. It has been brought out to us. We have already discussed with some of you. The CMO model, the collective management model in Africa faces many challenges, but we know with commitment from Ugandans and the support of the industry, we will conquer and we will succeed. I thank you, the caretakers. I thank you, the team of Uganda Registration Services Bureau. I thank you, the artists that have been very key and instrumental in seeing this work, for the efforts that you continue to put in and for the unwavering support. And allow me, on behalf of the Registrar General, to open officially this special general meeting and wish you fruitful deliberations. Thank you very, very much. I now want to invite a report on the inquiry into the issues of Uganda Performing Rights Society that will take us deep to where the problems are and how we intend to resolve. Over to you, Mr. Ekaju. Please take us through.
Thank you very much, Matse. The background has already been given. I'm only going to present now the report of the ad hoc committee of inquiry into the operations of Uganda Performing Rights Society. The main objective of the inquiry was to establish the validity of the complaints lodged against UPRS, specifically whether UPRS is compliant with the Copyrights and Neighboring Rights Act in protecting socio-economic interests of its membership, whether UPRS carries out public awareness and provides information on copyright and neighboring rights as provided by Section 58 B and G, whether UPRS is transparent and accountable in distribution of royalties to its members, whether UPRS holds annual general meetings to elect leadership, and the committee was also interested in whether UPRS Executive Committee causes the auditing of accounts of the society in accordance with Section 69 of the Act, whether there is transparency in the financial dealings of UPRS as envisaged by the Act, whether UPRS is being run in the best interests of the members, and whether UPRS has fostered harmony and understanding between its members. The methodology the committee used is that committee adopted the documentary review, where they studied and reviewed correspondences exchanged between copyright users, URSB, and UPRS to evaluate the complaints made against UPRS. They also interviewed officers from UPRS and selected stakeholders, external consultants, and various musicians in the Ugandan music industry. And they conducted site visits to UPRS offices and relevant stakeholders. The findings. Under the first objective of whether UPRS is compliant with the Copyright and Neighboring Act in protecting socioeconomic interests of its membership in accordance with Section 58 of the Act, we are looking at the following. The NSSF Act, Cap 22. UPRS management only presented to the inquiry team purported NSSF computations for the period June to November 2016 and January to March 2017. 2. The committee's concern, however, was that the schedule presented to the inquiry team does not provide conclusive evidence that management remitted the deductions to NSSF. The Income Tax Act, Cap 340, as amended. A review of the payee, that's pay as you earn, returns for February 2017 shows that 50 staff were paying the tax. However, there was no verifiable evidence that UPRS actually filed the tax with URA. Under the value added tax, Cap 349 as amended, up to Uganda shillings 76,969,483 was VAT payable for the financial year 2016. There was no documentation to help the committee to verify whether the management of the society paid to URA as required. The society did not claim input VAT, and this put them at a disadvantage to pay for higher VAT. Under the second objective of whether UPRS carries out public awareness and provides information on copyright and neighboring rights as provided by Section 58B and G of the Act, UPRS did not carry out effective public awareness, and neither did it provide information on copyright and neighboring rights as intended by the Act. UPRS collects license fees without sensitization to justify the collection of the license fees, which causes conflicts. Related interviews pointed out that musicians are ignorant of their rights, and this is because UPRS did not have public relations officer to relay the right information to the public. The UPRS licenses without educating the masses, UPRS licenses without educating the masses about piracy. UPRS did not provide an understanding of how they assess costs, yet users are willing to pay legitimate claims. UPRS carries out some awareness mainly to facilitate collection of royalties, but misrepresents its role and masquerades as URSB. The concerns under those findings are that UPRS does not raise awareness and provide the necessary information needed. It's not well known as a CMO. On the other hand, Users regarded UPRS as an illegal operation and are unwilling to meet the obligations of using protected works. UPRS had therefore failed to carry out the necessary awareness and to provide the necessary statutory information in contravention of the law. The third objective, whether UPRS is transparent and accountable in the distribution of the royalties to its members. The findings of the committee are UPRS pays out some royalties but does not have evidence of how much is collected and how much is distributed. The royalties under reciprocal agreements are not clear and there was no proof that they were being paid. UPRS members do not know how much is collected, and for those who have received the royalties, the amounts are unjustifiably unreasonable. As such, there was no transparency and accountability in distribution of royalties to members. Musicians interviewed informed the committee that UPRS members could not satisfactorily explain how royalties are determined, when and how UPRS conducts distributions of royalties and their continuity. And the interviews also expressed the need to know how UPRS arrives at the amount it pays to its members. And under the objective 4, whether UPRS holds annual general meetings to elect leadership during the period under review, the findings were, it was stated that UPRS had not held elections for the last 8 years. One of the interviews stated the following: that the exiting leaders had overstayed in power, and as such, artists want new administration. The same interviewees noted that UPRS did not have acceptability because the leadership is limited to 1 or 2 people. It was further stated that it was wrong for the same individual to be the CEO of UPRS and at the same time the General Secretary sitting on the board. That the CEO is a technical person and the General Secretary is supposed to be appointed by the General Assembly, which meeting has not taken place. Documentary review revealed that no notices were ever published. The minutes availed to the committee did not bear ownership of members who attended, making their authenticity doubtful. Important to note is that UPRS did not hold annual general meetings as stipulated by the Act. Under the objective, whether UPRS Executive Committee causes auditing of accounts of the society at least once in every year by an auditor appointed by the AGM and approved by the Registrar. These are the findings. UPRS Articles of Association provide for a General Counsel to fulfill the role of causing auditing of accounts of the society at least once every year by an audit appointed by the AGM and approved by the Registrar. The Registrar had never received any request to approve any auditor as stipulated under the Act. The current auditors are PAKS and Company Certified Public Accountants. The audit firm was not providing reports on the management efficiency. The audit reports represented The audit reports presented to the team were for the financial years 2013, 2014, and 2016, and there was no evidence that the society was audited in the earlier years as required by the law. The audit firm did not properly sign the 2016 audited accounts. The committee's concern under this were that the executive committee has never caused the accounts of the society to be audited. The auditor was not appointed by the annual general meeting and approved by the registrar. The available books were provided by the general secretary from purported auditor who was never appointed by the general meeting and all approved by the registrar of copyrights. The audit firm used should not have been hired. The financial statements, therefore, are not reliable. Under the objective whether there was transparency in the financial dealings of UPRS as envisaged by the Act, the committee reviewed the financial statements, and these were the findings. The review of the financial statements for the financial years 2016 and 2015 indicate that the society realized a surplus of Uganda shillings 728,352,637 and Uganda shillings 85,519,478 respectively. Yet, the company chokes with a liability of Uganda shillings 192,340,538 with the cash and bank balances for 2016 being Uganda shillings 40,958,641. This is an indicator that the society was not either managing its cash well or misreporting it in the accounts. When the committee reviewed the statement of financial position, it revealed the following. A review of trade debtors for the financial years 2016 and 2015 respectively indicate that the company had failed to manage its debt portfolio. In 2015, up to Uganda shillings 92,961,781 was reported as trade debtors, while in 2016, it was up to Uganda shillings 901,308,384. This means that if the company is collecting about 1.3 billion, then up to 70% ends up in credit sales, which are not easily collectible. The society wrote off debtors for the period amounting to 84,722,924 and made a provision for bad debts amounting to Uganda shillings 77,701,082. This is an indicator that up to a total of 162 million is sales gone bad. A review of cash and the bank positions. This revealed that in 2016, the society reported a cash balance of Uganda shillings 40,958,641 against a surplus of Uganda shillings 628,325,637. In 2015, the society reported a cash and bank balance of Uganda shilling 31,637,879 against a reported financial performance surplus of 85,519,478. there is a mismatch between the cash and bank balance reported in the financial statements and the performance of the financial year. A review of the accounts payable. The society has accumulated a very huge accounts payable over time. These payables are largely statutory, which is very risky for the organization. Out of the amount of payables reported in the accounts for the financial year 2016 of Uganda shillings 192,340,538, over 95% of this figure is statutory obligations unpaid, amounting to 181,730,077, which is broken down as follows. Duties and taxes was shillings 168,522,429. NSSF 2,272,244. Payee 7,985,394, and audit fees 2.950 million. There is no basis for incurring these liabilities according to the books of accounts. The capital deductions. A review of the accounts indicates recognition of capital donations amounting to 2,250,000 since 2013, which are not clear. Budget estimates. The estimates are not balancing. Indeed, it's a deficit budget. The society had planned to collect Uganda shillings 1,505,142,515 against a planned expenditure of Uganda shillings 1,510,205,015, meaning a deficit of Uganda shillings 5,062,000 was registered straight away. The budgeted income for 2016 was 1,414,796,665 against the actual income for the period of Uganda shillings 597,806,415. The budgeted expenditure of the same period was 1,414,796,665 against the actual expenditure of Uganda shillings 540,294,483. From the audited accounts, the income reported from the financial statements is different. That is to say, 1,346,227 for the actual income. I beg your pardon here. From the audited accounts, the income reported from the financial statement is different. That is to say, 1,346,223,227 for the actual income and 717,899,580 for the actual expenditure, which makes reliance on the accounts or the financial statements difficult. There was a mismatch. The salaries. UPRS pays its officers' salaries, but has nothing to show that the administration consulted the general meeting and the registrar before effecting any payments to its officers, and as required under the Section 80 of the Copyright and Neighboring Rights Act. Benevolent Fund. The committee did not find any document to indicate that UPRS maintains a provident and benevolent fund. Insurance policy. The inquiry team noted that there exists an insurance policy for risks such as fire and allied perils to burglary. Jubilee Insurance Company is covering this under a policy number for a period 2nd August 2016 to 2nd August 2017. That's 1 year. The cover is only worth 50 million Uganda shillings. The policy was not approved by the general meeting, and it's also not clear if the amount could cover all the CMO assets in case of fire and burglary. The committee concerns here are that the financial reporting and management reveals misreporting of the financial situation of UPRS for the benefit of the members. Secondly, the society management could not answer satisfactorily for the dismal financial performance. The debt portfolio management reveals inability to perform the duties of collecting on behalf of members efficiently. The whole arrangement for cash management and financial reporting reveals negligence on the part of the UPRS administration, and UPRS does not renegotiate liabilities with the creditors to arrive at payment plans. Also, the committee went further by noting the following, that the management of UPRS does not have a debt management strategy to collect funds to pay off creditors. The accounts do not provide any adequate disclosures for reliability and truthfulness. The budget estimates presented to the inquiry team for 2017 are unreliable and unrealistic. The budgeting process was not participatory, and the budget itself was not approved by the executive committee. No copy was provided to the Registrar General as required by the law. UPRS does not have a provident and benevolent fund. The management of UPRS has neglected or failed to comply with the law to setting up provident and benevolent fund for its members. Payments made by UPRS to staff as remuneration are illegal. The administration of the CMO was not conducting the financial affairs of the CMO in the best interests of the members, and there was total deviation from the law by management. Under the objective, whether UPRS is being run in the best interests of the members, the committee looked at the following: the constitution and the mandate of UPRS, and these were the findings. Most of the interviewees knew UPRS with varied understanding of what it actually was. Some thought UPRS was an organization owned by the CEO. Others thought it was a regulator. Others thought UPRS was an agent of URSB. It came out from many interviews that the mandate of UPRS is not clear in objectives, purpose, rights, and works administered, and even identity. Additional information, additional from the company register, it seems UPRS has never updated its records and has operated in a contravention of various provisions of the Companies Act. As such, there was diverse understanding of membership, management, the mandate, and general constitution of UPRS. Investigations thus conclude that there was need to clarify the role of UPRS in the music industry. Under the membership, the majority of the interviewees and especially members of UPRS informed the committee that a person becomes a member of UPRS without paying membership fee. There is also no register for members to be inspected. There is also no register of members to be inspected by the public. However, there is a database of musicians. Musicians ignorance of their rights under the Copyright and Neighboring Rights Act featured prominently during the interviews. Investigations thus conclude that UPRS should comply with the law by charging membership fee. There is need for UPRS to keep a register which can be inspected by the public. Under management, that is Board of Trustees and Executive Committee, UPRS itself stated that their management structure is as follows. The General Assembly constituted of members of UPRS. The General Assembly elects a board for a term of 5 years. The board appoints a chief executive who runs day-to-day operations of the CMO. A review of the Articles of Association found detailed provisions on the General Assembly, the General Council, and other administrative matters which contradict how UPRS management is currently constituted. Further to the above, whereas UPRS exhibited what was referred to as minutes of the annual general meeting, some of the members interviewed stated that UPRS had not held elections for the last 8 years. Members also raised concerns about the term of office of the current CEO and summarized that it was wrong for a CEO to be a CEO at the same time General Secretary who sits on the board. The current CEO himself stated that he had been a General Secretary since 2005 and had no contractual relationship with UPRS. Still, other interviews stated that UPRS management was not chosen in a transparent manner. Accordingly, the following has been concluded by the committee: that the structure of UPRS needs to match with that in the Articles of Association, and there is need for an independent and representative board. The committee recommends here that there is need to clarify the role of UPRS in the music industry, and that UPRS should comply with the law by charging membership fee. There is need for UPRS to keep a register which can be inspected by the public, and the structure of UPRS needs to match with that in the Articles of Association, and there is need for an independent and representative board. And under the objective whether UPRS fosters harmony and understanding between its members, the findings are that UPRS did not foster harmony and understanding amongst its members and the users of their works, which prejudiced the protection of their economic rights. Some of the interviews informed the committee that UPRS's manner of enforcement is rude. The committee was further informed that the charges of UPRS are increasing every year. For example, 300,000 was charged last year, and it jumped to shillings 2 million this year without justification. The overall conclusion is that there is no harmony between UPRS and the users. Whereas most users would like to comply, they have rejected the manner of enforcement used by UPRS officials. As such, UPRS has failed to comply with Section 58, Part F of the Copyrights and Neighboring Rights Act 2006. Overall conclusions of the committee: UPRS has exhibited operations for an illegal purpose, collection of royalties from the public, utilization of the fees collected from the users. UPRS is no longer operating in accordance with the Act, specifically in regard to its administration and management of the operations of and finances of the CMO. the current administration of UPRS has failed rights holders. And the recommendations are, the committee therefore recommends that since the problems identified arise from administration, management of operations and finances of the CMO, the registrar considers suspending the current administration of the CMO and appointing a caretaker. And finally, the immediate duties of a caretaker should be to construct a reliable database of members, call a general meeting, and ensure election of new leadership, streamline the administrative structures, and collection of royalties until a new administration is established. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ambrose Ekaju, for taking us through the ad hoc committee report that was concluded in 2018 and brought in the caretakers. And now I would like to invite the caretaker managers to take us through their report, and we move to another agenda activity. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Good morning. I think it's still morning. Good afternoon, everyone. My apologies. As a point of concern, Madam Chair, I think we're seated a bit too closely. If some space can be created amongst you in view of COVID, I feel obliged just to say it, or at least put on your masks. Those of you that can, I kindly ask. Please social distance, COVID is real. A space over here, for those of you that can, you can still be able to see. Well, at least we told you. Ladies and gentlemen, I feel extremely honored to present the caretaker's report on behalf of the team that was assigned to this task. I feel that we are at a turning point in the society as we are holding this special general meeting under a new normal. I ask that as these reports are presented to you, you be forward-looking. We assign ourselves tasks to ensure that the mistakes of the past are not repeated, and that we can all work together to ensure that the society grows. Madam Chair, we were appointed, as you said, caretakers of UPRS on 29th July 2019 to assist the regulator in furtherance of its investigations into the allegations of mismanagement of the CEO. That followed also a suspension of the CEO and the compliance manager of the CMO, who have now since resigned. In this report, we're providing a summary of the activities of our undertaking and our findings during the administration of us as caretaker. Madam Chair, the broader objective of our appointment was to investigate the causes of poor performance of the CMO and devise strategies for its growth. The findings of our investigations were submitted to URSB in a draft report dated 2nd December 2019, pardon me, and a final report that is here with us. Briefly, the findings of that report are that Mr. James Wassler, Mr. Dominic Matovu played a formidable and indelible role in the establishment and growth of UPRS and the promotion of copyright in Uganda. That is written all over the institution documents now. However, under their management, UPRS has not been operated in compliance with the legal requirements, and more importantly, the Companies Act and the Copyrights and Neighboring Rights Act. In this regard, our findings, among others, are that the board composition elected on the basis of regional representation is not consistent with the company's articles of association, in other words, the constitution. The auditors of the company's books were not validly appointed, as they were neither approved by the URSB, and no minutes or resolutions of a general meeting were available to us to show that they had been so appointed. The audit reports and expenditures of the CMO were not also approved by URSB. The financial statements of the CMO were suspect, as they were neither signed by the directors of the CMO or approved by any board meeting. The royalty distributions were also suspect or poorly accounted for, as recipients of the money did not sign for these monies. Lastly, the loopholes in the CMO's register, as they appear to be multiple registration, members aged over 100 years, children artists without guardianship orders, deceased members whose royalties were being handled without letters of administration. So in the findings of the caretaker administration are consistent with the findings of the ad hoc committee. We also established that the CMO has enormous financial potential with a capacity to rake in revenues on over 10 billion in royalties within a period of 24 to 36 months, and probably going up to 100 billion within 5 years. The current board, however, lacks the minimum and required leadership skills and competence to steer UPRS to that potential. The board in particular demonstrated no knowledge of basic principles of corporate governance and statutory requirements for the CMO. While staff appear to be well-trained in technical aspects of copyright administration management, they lacked the required leadership and management skills. While some of them have some basic knowledge of copyright law, they were exceptionally weak on the statutory compliance required by the CMO under the Companies Act and the Copyrights and Neighboring Rights Act. We also found that there were regulatory weaknesses on the part of URSB on supervision of the CMO. Administrative activities with credit in keeping the CMO afloat during the administration. We took over this administration on the 29th of July and managed to keep it open and functioning, as is evidenced today. We found only 7 million shillings on that account. Today, I think as of, we'll show demonstrate, we'll probably have about 160 million or probably less with the expenditures of today. Now, this is not a matter to take for granted because of the high risk of corporate collapse in instances of forceful hostile takeovers. The staff here were particularly distraught by what they called an ambush of our appointment. However, save for 2 resignations in addition to the ones already mentioned above, the rest of the team still remains intact. Despite our financial and operational limitations, UPRS managed to participate in the Africa Copyrights Day, 13th September 2019, by preparing and releasing a short documentary of the future of UPRS. We also found the payments of royalties and distributions going on at the time of appointment and allowed that process to go on without interruption for strategic reasons. We could not stop it, just safe so that we can understand what's going on. Last of all, we provided logistical support to URSB enforcement that saw an increase in our collections, which enabled the business to survive. These enforcements were also used to stress test the process and gauge the efficiency of these operations. They were consequently suspended in November 2019 after making our findings. Business planning. We have prepared and are proposing a 2-year strategic plan and budget for the organizational change and restructure of UPRS. This plan specifically seeks to improve efficiency and transparency in the CMO operations and restore credibility among members and stakeholders. As such, the plan places emphasis on the areas of membership, sensitization, stakeholder engagement, partnerships, rebranding, automation, and governance. While While preliminary activities have been initiated as part of the caretaker administration, the plan is subject to approval by the regulator, engagement with all members of the General Assembly on the way forward, and of course, it needs money. Change management. In anticipation of the change management activities of the CMO, we have engaged Uganda Revenue Authority to provide a change management specialist on secondment to UPRS. As part of our preliminary efforts in this regard, the proposed change management specialist, a highly ranking manager at URA, was invited to facilitate a staff retreat in January 2010. Her participation proved useful in reorienting staff to accept and navigate stressful change. Our choice of URA as a partner in this regard is premised on the successful restructures that entity has gone through in the last 15 years. Change managers from URA are also responsible for successful restructures in Kampala City Council Authority and Uganda National Roads Authority. We therefore believe that the entity has the experience that we need here. Governance activities. Change in management and recruitments. We identified and recruited a restructuring consultant to facilitate a transition from the caretakers to the new management. Mr. Mwanda is a former manager of tax investigation unit at URA with over 18 years experience in change management and tax authorities. Mr. Mwanda also worked with IMF, International Monetary Fund, offering tax investigation and audit support to revenue authorities in Swaziland, Zimbabwe, Sierra Leone, and many others. He was recruited on a 6-month renewal contract and has been a valuable addition to our team. We hope he stays with us. We also identified and recruited Ms. Jackie Nankinga, a volunteer legal officer at UPRS in November 2019, to fill the legal skills gap that we found here. It was a bit too glaring. Ms. Nankinga is a holder of a Bachelor of Laws degree from Uganda Christian University, Mukono, and a postgraduate diploma in legal practice from Law Development Center. Ms. Nankinga has already completed a WIPO certificate in copyright management and copyright law, which is a solid demonstration of her interest and commitment to her work. Ms. Nankinga was also recruited on a 6-month redeemable contract and has also been a very welcome addition to the team. Lastly, we recruited Ms. Viola Buyungo as a financial consultant accountant to temporarily fill the glaring gap in the accounts function of the CMO. A lot of the things we've been able to pick up from the internal audit report of URSB is because of the lack of accounting skills that we found here. Ms. Boyongo is a holder of a bachelor's business degree from Makerere University and a CPA level 3 qualification from the Institute of Certified Public Administration, accountant. Ms. Boyongo also has 7 years experience in financial management, having worked as a financial manager at Kwese TV, Budo Distillers, and got prior experience from SK, Certified Public Accountants, and GIZ. Until joining the UPRS, the position of accountant was held by Ms. Deborah Nansuga, who held the position in acting capacity since 2014. Ms. Nansuga was initially recruited as a licensing officer and has had formal experience in accounts and financial management. She now reverts to her old position as a licensing officer. Constitutional review. We were required by the regulator to review the CMO's articles of association and propose changes that align with the law. As a result, the regulator initiated widespread changes to the articles and were discussed and reviewed by selected representatives of the board leading groups like UMA, Administered Government Uganda, COVID restrictions, and other members of UPRS. The proposals include the adoption of the company's code of corporate governance, professionalization of the board by raising qualifications for board members and composition. These changes must be approved by the membership, and my co-caretaker, Ms. Rita Birungi, will be taking us through that shortly. Policy and process flow manuals. We also drafted policy manuals that we found most critical but lacking in the operations of the CMO. These manuals must be approved by the AGM, and they include the membership policy, human resource policy, license policy. We also revised the distribution rules and financial rules that we found in place. All the changes in these documents are tracked for ease of reference as we'll be looking through. We recommend the preparation of the enforcement manual for future reference. That we were not able to do. We revised several internal operational processes in order to promote efficiency and accountability. The main areas that were in finance-related activities, including double checking of requisitions, provision of evidence of expenditure, details and requisition requests, procurement processes, reconciliation of petty accounts expenditures. These processes have been greatly improved in the accountability and transparency of the CMO as we speak. Stakeholder engagement. We initiated several stakeholder discussions for the support of UPRS, and among the stakeholders approached among the government entities was UCC, where we sought support for the improvement of the CMO's monitoring function and effective compliance of the broadcasting houses and telecom companies with their obligation to pay royalties. Our engagements with URA and Ministry of Finance were to seek the introduction of blank tape levy and lobby for fiscal policy interventions designed for owners of musical rights to earn from their works. The engagements with URA were particularly promising as the entity showed readiness to enter into an MOU with UPRS to provide training for staff and members of UPRS, support monitoring of rights usage, and assist in building partnerships with key government entities. We also engaged with entities like KCCA and Transport Licensing Board with a view to establish working partnerships that can now allow for ease of payment of royalties by users of musical works and reduce expenses in the collections by the CMO. We've also engaged with the Chief Coordinator of Operation Wealth Creation, Ministers of Gender, Labor and Social Development, who are all helpful in giving guidance and assistance to this assignment. Users, we engaged and had positive discussion with leaders and representatives of the Bar Club and Entertainment Owners Association, the National Association of Broadcasters. The main organizers, the said organizations' representatives showed readiness to pay royalties provided UPRS improved transparency in its financial management and veiled more convenient means for assessment and payment of royalties. It is therefore important that UPRS quickly sorts out its affairs so as to earn the credibility of users of its members' works. International stakeholders. We held several meetings with key international stakeholders with a view to obtaining their support for the reorganization of UPRS. We initiated talks with CISAC that led to a visit by the Regional Director Africa in February 2020. Our engagement with WIPO and an undertaking to host a major workshop for Ugandan artists on copyright law management and administration. IFPI and CISAC committed technical support to rejuvenate UPRS and ensure a strong foundation within the transparency, accountability, and governance principles. Other CMOs like Apaso of South Africa, COSON of Nigeria are also potential partners in the growth of a more organized UPRS. Member engagements, we had numerous engagements with over 300 different members of UPRS at different fora. We've participated in several TV, radio, and online interviews that address members' questions and updating them on the activities of the Caretaker administration. All these engagements were enriching to the assignment, and every effort was made to consider the merits of every concern and proposal made by every member. Logistical support. We received a lot of logistical support from government. Given UPRS's limited resources, we sought to obtain logistical and support for the CMO. We are thankful to NITA, who headed the call and provided 15 computers, 15 workstations, office cabinets, 15 office chairs. NITA also offered UPRS free internet, unlimited server space on which bilateral database with WIPO and IPI now reside, and a meeting space for 35 members, for up to 35 people on one of its facility. NITA also offered to design and manage the UPRS website on its modern infrastructure. The redesigned website is already up and running on the NITA Uganda domain. NITA Uganda also undertook to fully automate UPRS functions. As a result, a membership registration portal was designed and is currently running on the website. We're sorry that there were some glitches, but the intention was to ease registration, and we're doing a lot of work behind the scenes to ensure that it continues, it comes up and continues running. We are thankful for URSB as well for facilitating meetings with members of UPRS, the Ministers of Gender, Labor and Social Welfare. URSB also financed the expenses of member mobilization for this AGM and has also provided data. I hope some people have received data. That process was ongoing as we started the meeting. Private institutions, we also had positive discussions with the United Bank of Africa, MTN, and Leica Mobile. We are thankful to the Chief Executive Officer of Tangerine Leica Mobile, Mr. Vinay Chaudhary, who personally pledged and contributed 10 million shillings towards the cost of organizing this general meeting. We're thankful to United Bank of Africa, who are considering their support to the creative industry through the creation of a financial products that support the industry. Rebranding of UPRS, there's been a lot of talk about this, some people not welcoming it very quickly, but the negative perceptions that UPRS carries among its members and stakeholders have left it with hardly any brand value to talk of. It became important to address this issue when the tenancy of the office premises on Kira Road were terminated, thereby forcing us to shift the secretariat to the present premises. The change became even more urgent when we were required to build a new website and shift from the old domain of the website from our old domain to the NITA infrastructure. The old domain, the infrastructure on the website was too old to be hosted on the NITA domain. So we had to quickly step up. Yes, the old website and this infrastructure was too weak to host the member verification portal. And so we had to shift it to the new domain, and that meant that we needed to buy new suits and give the website the new look. So the rebrand had to start. We consulted selected members about the proposed new logo, new fresh look, and the new logo, and the general consensus is that it looks good. We hope you like it. The logo does not only represent a fresh and new beginning, but it speaks to the professionalism that members should aspire for. As part of the necessary software brand activities of the new logo, we requested and obtained from NITA a redesign of the UPRS website with a modern look and an interaction. Go to the site uprs.go.ug. If you notice, we're now on the .ug network. That's a government network. And that's because NITA allowed us. And this, the interaction, social media interactions extends to Facebook and Twitter and so on. And if you notice, there's been increased the activity of that. These channels have, as a consequence, increased interactions between UPRS, its members, and general membership of the public. The increased interaction in turn compelled us to recruit a communications consultant who enabled UPRS to continuous and daily interact daily with members of the public online. So the increased interaction is because we have someone that we have put there for that. We therefore request you, members of the General Assembly, to accept these changes. In our report, we have listed given you pictures of the new look, but you please go and look at the website and see for yourself. The audit of caretaker activities. We invited URSB to conduct an audit of the CMO for the last year ending 2019 and also examine financial statements for the period of the caretaker administration. We are happy to report that the audit findings report indicate that the caretaker administration had brought tangible value to the CMO. However, the audit confirmed the queries we raised about the bookkeeping practices of the CMO and further highlighted the need for professional management of the CMO. Installation of WIPO Connect. This is a software through which the CMO should be able to handle your distributions. It performs the distribution function for the CMO. The WIPO Connect is provided by WIPO. It's free of charge. We're happy to report that because NITA provided that storage and advanced infrastructure to UPRS, we are now able to progress from WIPO course, which we had and was being phased out, to something called WIPO Connect. So that means that had NITA come to our aid, we would not be able to conduct our distribution function because WIPO course is being phased out. And the WIPO Connect, the new system, required a more advanced infrastructure for us to be able to sit on it. Departmental reports, ICT activities. I have talked about WIPO course. We have renewed our IPI, Interested Party Information Database Agreement. We have been conducting a series of cleaning up activities on the register. Those activities are ongoing. They will not stop. It's necessary that we continue. The work is quite a lot. And we're, of course, let down by NITA's link that forced us to go back to the manual system. But as soon as it's up and running, we will be going back to that system to clean up, and we have a neat, clean register for everyone. Automation of the office. I have talked about the NITA donations. What I have not talked about is what they provided in a mobile app development, so that you can receive information about your account or the functions of the entity on your mobile. NITA also provided us a unified messaging and collaboration systems network, which allows for advanced mailing system and cloud storage for space and information backup. So the emails, if you also look at the emails that we have today, they are Uganda government emails because we're seated on the domain. I've talked about the website. I've talked about the furniture, the virtual server space. We're not saving on computer. We don't have limited space. Our server was just a simple computer, not anymore. What are the benefits of this automated process? Number one, ease of registration of members. So you don't have to come here. You can register from wherever you are. Ease of licensing. We hope that the members who are complaining that they have to come over and license, that should be easy. They should be doing it from wherever they are. Improvement of reporting as a solution to provide for data so that you can get reports from the CMO on your phone through your application. The system can self-generate these reports. Timely information about members, users, distribution, and institutional performance. You don't have to wait for URSB to come and tell you that you know, the CMO has not been functioning well because of financial mismanagement or anything like that. This time you're able to see it on yourself, for yourself. So eased access to buyers and sellers locally and international, so that if you want, it's very easy. We can do this on the system that is being developed by NITA. Activation of social media accounts. I have mentioned those. We're now active on Instagram and other things I did not know, like Flickr and I don't know, YouTube. We have also installed a fairly advanced alarm system here. So if you want to rob us, you will not be successful, which we didn't have before. From the documentation office, we have seen growth in the CMO membership. We had 2,931 registered authors and composers as of August 2019. We now have 3,096, representing a growth of 6%. Producers and publishers, we had 41 as at August 2019. We now have 52, representing a growth of 27%. And the works, we had 13,903. As at September 2020, we had 14,303, representing a growth of 3%, which is generally good, considering that we worked in a bit of turbulent time, uncertainty about the caretaker administration, whether the CMO will still exist or not, and then also adding to COVID and so on. So I think we've done fairly well. Under ordinary circumstances, we should have done even better. The member validation and verification process, data cleaning. All member files were checked to verify conformity with the all registration requirements. and the presence of an application form, including biodata, declaration of works and the deed, so on and so on. Our findings are only 838 of these were compliant. We had 21 missing application and declarations. We had 40 missing application and deed, deed of assignments missing. We had 289 applications missing. We had 708 applications, declarations, and deeds missing. We had 809 declaration and deeds missing, but 61 declarations missing. We had 193 deeds missing. This speaks to the need for this verification process. Please come and update your membership. It's a normal thing. Even your banks call you and ask you to update, isn't it? So it's the same thing here. Risk and legal matters. As I mentioned, we hired a voluntary legal officer whose job it is now is to look at issues of compliance, manage litigation cases, contracts, review contracts, and dispute resolution. During the caretaker administration, we had 4 suits filed against us. And these are Quality Limited versus Uganda Limited versus UPRS, civil suit number 444 of 2019. This case came up for scheduling on the 24th of August. Speak Hotel and others versus UPRS, civil suit 758 of 2019. UPRS versus VEN, civil suit 919 of 2019. Kasiva Joshua versus UPRS, miscellaneous cause 123 of 2019. These suits speak to why we need to have a legal officer here. There is need for someone to keep an eye on the legal risks that you have here. Finally, the financials. I have mentioned earlier that opening our balance as of 29th July was 7,186,958. But as of 30th August 2020, we had 167,558,050 shillings, which is a fairly good performance in considering that we have not earned money in the last 8 months because of COVID. It is likely that we're not going to have any significant revenues coming in the foreseeable future, about 6 months. And yet the entity needs money. We need to pay staff, we need to pay rent, and so on. So for those of you that think you can serve on the board, your first challenge is how to increase revenues for this entity, how to recover money, your royalties from users without antagonizing them. We need to find a manner that collects this money in a sanitized fashion. We need to find other sources of revenue amidst COVID. How do we, which donors do we talk to, which grants can we get, and so on. We need that caliber of people. Madam Chair, as that is my report, I need to again emphasize that I ask my members, you're not mine, members of this, of the society, let's be forward-looking. Let's be forward-looking. The entity can recover. I remember the figure, 10 billion, 100 billion. We will not be able to get this money or realize this potential if we are throwing mud at ourselves. We will not get this potential if you do not speak as one voice. Oh, I don't campaign. So I just need you to understand that for the errors that have been found here, you want to make a decision. Do you want to fight over yesterday, or do you want to look at the future and say the future is what I want? That decision is yours. I thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much to the caretakers, our legal advocates. You still have a ceremony to conduct.
Madam Chair, I have my last duty of handing over our report.
Thank you to the caretaker, managers. We, as Uganda Registration Services Bureau, the regulators, after doing our internal inquiry, we had to get the external arm to come and do the deepening of the findings. And now we have a report. I have been requested to give an opportunity to Mwanda. Mr. Mwanda, please come and summarize what Mr. Kabito was saying.
Mr. Mwanda.
Debo, you can give the microphone.
Mr. Mwanda, mpoza ate mbadde manjo eyo walwadde bakukulu kyoluzungu nga luyitiridde eyo bandyagadde ate abantu baffe kwegamba oyitemu ebitonotono mu bumpimpi kwegamba bagenda okutwala eri kwegamba obaliiremu naye ate era nabagambye nti bano ba representative baabwe balina bangi abagenda obavuunulira obaliiramu nga batuuse wali manju naye nga kugamba wemu akatonotono ke banaagenda nako.
Madam Chair, n'abantu abaliwo, nze asoma report bampita Kabito Kalamaji. Ngenda kukola, ngenda kuyitamu bayita olukwakwayo, sagala kuddamu byonna byasomye omukulu oyo kubanga olulimi oluzungu lulimi olutongole. Nze ngenda kuba nvuuniramu kwabo mpozi abatakwasiza olwa speed ennyingi gyatutte. Kakati caretaker yalondebwa URSB erungamya emirimu egya UPRS. Waliwo okukubagana n'abalala kye bayita endoliito ezaaliwo mu kuddukanya ekitongole kino era ekyavaamu abakulu abaali baddukanya ekitongole Mami James Wasula ne Dominic Matovu ne basabibwa badde wabbali okunoonyeza kutandike. Caretaker n'asiima nnyo omulimu gwakolebwa Mr. James Wasula ne Mr. Watovu nti oboolyawo singa si bo ekitongole tekyandibaddewo nga bwe kiri. Naye era n'agamba nti enzirukanya ya company teyeesigama amateeka aga Neighboring and Copyright and Neighboring Act ne Companies Act. Era nga mwalimu ennyingo eziwera ze yamenye ezitaatuusibwa nga bwe zandibadde. Meeting eno gye tulimu tabamiruka nti teyayitibwa mu mateeka. N'agamba nti bwe baatandikira baasanga $7,000,000 ku account ne baddukanya ekitongole ekyo ne balaba nga kibeerawo ne basoloza ssente wonna wali okukiddukanya okutuuka na buli kati. Baakola kye bayita business planning oba okutetenkanya emirimu egy'omunda egy'ekitongole ne bakyusa endowooza y'abantu ba staff ab'omunda kye bandiyise change management. Ebyo byombi nga beesigama abantu ababikozeeko abalina obumanyirivu mu kukyusa company. Okusingira ddala baatunda mu URA ne bajjayo abantu abayamba mu business process re-engineering oba okukyusa emirimu gy'omunda ne change management okukyusa endowooza y'aba staff. Bwe batyo ne banoonyereza ne bafuna aba staff ne banoonyereza bafuna abantu okuyamba obukulembeze obw'ekiseera era baagenda banoonyayo omusajja bamuyita Mr. Mwanda eyajja n'ayambako emirimu gy'okutereeza ekitongole ne yeggatibwako Jackie Nankinga nga ye pleader nga yakave Makerere era nga amateeka aga intellectual property agakuba bukwaku wabeerayo Viola Buyungo kakati oye nga abala nnyo buli kiriwo ekyokubala kibala mu bwangu ne beetegereza ssemateeka adduganya ekitongole era ne beebuuza ku bantu bangi nnyo n'ab'ebweru aba SIZAC ne bajja wano ne beetegereza ebintu ebiri mu ssemateeka aboolyawo ebyanditerezeddwa okuddukanya ekitongole bulungi obaawo ne bawandiika ne babaga kinandise amateeka amatono processes ez'omunda eziddukanya engeri ekitongole gye kitambulamu policies ng'eza human resource eza finance n'endala ezifaananako bwe zityo engeri ebitongole munda mu kitongole gye gikolaganya kakati bakwatagana kye bayita okukwanyaganya emirimu n'ebitongole bya gavumenti mulimu UCC aba URA KCCA nga baagala okutongoza amateeka ag'enjawulo agayinza okuyingiza ssente mu UPRS ne bakolagana n'abantu be twandiyise ba users abakozesa ebitono byaffe aba TV n'aba radio n'ebitongole ebyebweru ebifaananako nga UPRS CMO ez'ebweru ne ba members mu bitongole byabwe gavumenti yatuyamba ebintu ebiwerako mu bitongole bya gavumenti ebyenjawulo waliwo ne kampuni eza kinnoomu ezajja ne ziyamba kampuni eno UBA MTN Like Mobile n'abalala abajja era nga wakyali abalala abajja mu kukyusa endabika UPRS gye yalimu kyasalibwako nti bajja kukyusa oba okukola rebrand abamu ku mmwe abaliwo abaanza akabanga mwalabanga engoma neevaawo n'ekyusibwa neereeta akantu akali mabega w'omukubiriza w'olukiiko akantu ako kalimu ebigambo UPRS naye nga kugamba babikola mu ngeri ya kikolosoofa omala kutunula mpolampola n'obiraba ebigambo byonna mu ebiri bakyusa website nga beegasse wamu ne NITA netuwa ebintu ebyenjawulo bingi ebiyamba okugonza emirimu munda eno namwe bammemba abali ebweru bafuna omuntu eyajja okubalirira okulaba engeri omukulembeze ow'ekiseera gye yali akolamu emirimu oba kiyita Audit of Caretaker Activities era bo batyo ne bakola report okulaba engeri Caretaker gye yaddukanyamu emirimu gye kakati waliwo ekitongole ekikulu kye bayita WIEO yatuwa database kati tuli nayo wano e Kampala era nga buli wetufuna oluyimba olupya tuluyingizayo munda mu database mu bwangu ddala njagala kuddukano obuntu obutonotono obwakolebwa bakola membership database oba olukalala lwa memba olupya waliwo olukalala lw'ebitone olu-international bayita IPI database twakola okulongoosa olukalala lw'abamemba oba verification twakola automation eyo y'okuddukanya emirimu mu ngeri ya computer ne tufuna system ewandiisa abantu ne system etereza ennyimba waliwo system eya mobile app nga mobile app eyo mu phase 2 eno buli omu ajja kuba nga alina app nga atunula ku simu ye n'akwataganya ne UPRS n'ategeera ssente z'abanja ssente z'afunye n'oluyimba lwe lusinza okukuba twafuna email system empya twafuna email empya twafuna office furniture computer mmeeza n'entebe nabagambako mabegaawo entebe zirina emipiira zidduka nnyo twafuna kye bayita office virtual space okutereka ebintu byaffe mu bwengula nga tuterekera ddala tetulinaako kkomo egamba buli kamu ke tufuna tukateeka waggulu kati ebintu bino byonna byagala kuyamba memba okwewandiisa mu bwangu memba okulaba ssente z'abanja memba okulaba ennyimba ze ziriyo n'abalala bwe tukwanaganya nabo emirimu okulaba engeri ekikwataganyamu ebintu twalongoosa social media Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, WhatsApp, n'abalala bafaanako bwe batyo, ne YouTube. Okumaliriza ne tuteekamu security system mu office okusobola okukuuma ebintu ebyo. Twakebera olukalala lw'abammemba ne tulaba nti mulimu bammemba beeyongedde kuva ku 2009 kutuuka 3,110. Producers beeyongeddemu kuva ku 40 paka 52 n'ebitone beeyongedde kuva ku 1,300 okutuuka 1,400. Era bwe twayita mu lukalala ne tulaba abammembers baffe 2,600 naye nga bammemba baalina ebintu ebyabibulamu era ne tubimenya era abadde bagoberera updates zino twateekayo enkalala ku website zaffe endala ezituteeka ku mikutu egy'enjawulo nga WhatsApp nga memba asobola okutunulayo n'alaba kiki kye bamubanja. Nga Wunzika n'agamba nti waliwo ensonga ezikyali mu kkooti nga zeesigama ku bantu abo abaaganira okugondera amateeka ga UPRS ne bakuba music nga tebasasula ssente. Kale abanaku abo baatwala UPRS mu kkooti nga bonna omugatte ssente ze ba UPRS ze babanja ziri $1,133,000. Mulimu Kisibo Joshua, mulimu Ven Group ne Nantambala Joyce, mulimu Speak Hotel, mulimu Dolphin Suits ne Forest Cottages ne Kabira Club, ne mubeeramu ne Quality Supermarket. Kati abantu abo tusuubira nti tujja kusinga emisango egyo mu kkooti. Kale bannange, Mr. Karamagi asiime nnyo okumuwuliza atukadde eri.
Thank you, Mwanda. Thank you. Madam Rita, come and take us through the constitutional provisions that require amendment so that we take a decision. As Madam Rita prepares, I see we have a hand up. Yes, you can ask a question. Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Masse. Joseph Ruele, by names. Well, just kind of clarification. I'm requesting you members to clarify and really tell us what we really came for here. Number one, because I am seeing that we are like spectators, kind of reports being read, no matters arising from, we are not sharing anything at all. I don't know if you are going again to listen to the amendments of the Constitution, and again we elect, we go, I don't know. Please clarify on that.
Thank you, Mr. Ruele. Next, before we answer, any other question? Any other question? Yes, madam. Just one question, sir.
Thank you so much. My name is Juliet Sesanga. When you were reading your report, we were meant to understand that the management which was taking care of UPRS had been in office for 8 years. Yet we elected the ones who were dissolved 2 years ago. I don't know where you got the data from. I just wanted to clarify on that. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Ruele, the agenda was clear on the issues that we are tackling. We have finished the informing members on what transpired when the ad hoc committee made its investigations, the URSB ad hoc committee. And this committee led to the caretakers. The caretakers have just delivered their findings. And one of the issues or the terms of reference that they were supposed to do is to ensure that we have a special general meeting to elect new leaders. And from this agenda item, we're going to listen to the issues that need amendment, because the old Articles of Association has many gaps, and we want to make it better as we want to progress. And so you're going to listen into the areas that need changes, and members will comment. And then after, we shall elect new members, the board members that made applications and those that were listed by the regulator. I want us to be on the same page, because Mr. Really doesn't know what we are doing so far. Madam Sesanga, I thank you for asking about the timelines of the leadership. I think the reports were clear. Let me not preempt Mr. Karamaji's response about the timelines, but we are changing the new leadership, and we have, because from the report, the current board was not elected properly and did not have the minimum requirements. And so we are trying to rectify that by getting a new team on board. Yes, but Mr. Karamaji.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I think the question Madam Sesanga asks is one about the 8 years. It's about the 8 years. Perhaps it appears to me that you misunderstood what Derek was talking about, or what the report of the internal audit referred to. The 8 years seem to be referred to Mr. Wasula at the helm. And yes, it is true that there was an election last year, and our findings in that regard, as contained in our report, are that there was no quorum that warranted that allowed for that election to continue. I have also mentioned in our report, the brief I gave, that the constitution of that board was not consistent with what was stated in the articles. So to that extent, that board would not be a legal one. And it would appear, I think, if you could hear from the regulator's terms, I think there's a pronouncement to that effect about that board. On the issue of where this 8 years comes from, where you should get, if you listen to that report brief carefully, it talked about interviewees. Yes, there were interviewees, people who were invited to appear before a committee and the ad hoc committee, and what they stated. The conclusion and the finding of the committee is that members did not know. There was also a lack of proper knowledge about the running of the CMO. I hope that answers it.
Thank you, KK. We are going to the next stage. Yes, madam.
I'm really wondering, and I don't know whether I'm ashamed, but I always feel proud when I'm saying the truth. I'm like asking, and my CEO is here, former, that when because what I know, when UPRS is making any kind of a conference like this one, where we're electing people, URSB is the mother body. Where are you informed? Oh, you aren't. Because it's really a shame to feel that we committee members or the elected members to take that kind of action to take place. I feel URSB, who is the mother body, should have been informed to take part of that. Were you informed when we are being elected by that time, or you aren't?
Thank you very much. I didn't want us to go back to the past, because the findings have been made, and like the documentation exposed, most of these decisions that were made required to be made under or within the AGM, which according to the law was not complied with. And even when you look at the database of the company registry, because UPRS is registered as a company limited by guarantee non-profit making entity, some of those documents are missing. And so we are trying to do the right things as UPRS. So whatever we are doing is within the law, and even this next stage that we are going through, ladies and gentlemen, is deciding on amendment of articles of association. Articles of association under the law are your constitution. If you're going to appoint the board, what should be the bisanizo? If you're going to do this, what should you do? If you're going to open accounts, how should you do this? So it's going to guide you. The current constitution or articles that you have some challenge, and we need to amend them, and decisions are made in this meeting. So Madam Rita is going to tell you the areas that are going to be, that need amendment. And after here, we take out what we call a special resolution, which is registered with URSB again, which institution is charged with the registration of these documents, so that everything is done within the law and transparently. Rita, you can take us now.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to try, in the interest of time, to stay brief, because this document is going to be made available, and I believe it had already circulated among the members. For those who haven't seen it, it's going to be available. You'll see it. I'll try also to mix Luganda and English to the extent that I can, so that everyone is included in this presentation. So the first part, just to be brief, is what we call an incorporation of a standard form of a constitution, which is under our Companies Act. It details so many provisions that you don't have to rewrite them and have a voluminous document. So we've incorporated that because it's a standard document. Secondly, there is what they call a code of corporate governance. A code, I don't know how to describe corporate governance. Governance corporate level. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. So yes, help me whenever I fail. There is that code to incorporating. Kubanga mu mateka company nga UPRS kubanga adopting a code. Code governing aba director batambula batya meetings zibeera zitya babeera bameka. So that code has to be complied with, and every year UPRS reporting to Capital Markets Authority on how you're performing under that code. So no code to incorporate in the constitution. We have incorporated it in the constitution. There are a few definitions in there which are standard, which have been incorporated. The other aspect Chemugendo Kulaba is recognition of the Uganda Companies Act. The Companies Act was amended in 2012. So we've tried to update articles za 2006. So it was updating to comply with the 2012 Act. So mugenda kulabanga, there's a lot of reference to that act in the constitution. Tutademu requirements for the board to approve a member, a person who applies to become a member. Mulimu, see, the board will have, you have to satisfy certain requirements into your inner copyright, you have an ID, you can be identified, and you have a record proof of that ownership of that copyright. Tuongedemu demo responses from members until UPRS. UPRS has been taking over all rights. There's been a lot of complaints about what UPRS has and what it doesn't. So what we have just provided is that it's an option. You choose what rights you want the society to administer. And if you want to go to a certain extent, you can take all the rights. That is the standard even in other CMOs. The other article that you're going to see is on termination. There was no provision on termination of your membership. So we have provided for notice that if you want to terminate your membership, you can give a written notice to UPRS, but also UPRS has a right to terminate a member, and we have detailed a procedure for that. that they will give you a notice that the reasons are given, you're indisciplined or you're not acting in the best interests of the society, because this is a voluntary engagement. We've also provided for death. There was no provision for what happens in case a member dies. In member what happens, we noticed that there were some cases where you have people who member wafanga baba mchala we baba ganda we, but the law has processes omuntu wafa waliwo amateeka galagirira assets zoyo muntu how they are supposed to move. So we have incorporated that so that UPRS omuntu wafa the right person yafuna you're taking over the copyright benefits of that person, and the process is also here. The rights you have some children who have copyright. Naenga, they are not like fresh kid. He's not a member, but he's one of the children who sing, but they have copyright. So atenga mateko mwana tasobola contracting. There is a legal process for that. So we have provided that such children should have guardianship orders from the people who are in their care, who are taking care of them. So ezo guardianship orders UPRS zebayetaga. Ichache tuongedemu is the concept of virtual meetings. One of the challenges that was no, because of your numbers, it's not easy to mobilize now COVID, but it was not going to be easy to mobilize this meeting. So we have made provision for virtual meetings, and your constitution is supposed to allow for it. So to start demo that you can have those meetings, and the process is given in there. Echira chetwa Justinze is the question of quorum. Quorum yamwe ebade 2/3, which is about 60% of membership. Now from the record and even in other CMOs, mobilizing because of the nature of your industry. So the engagements that we had with members, the proposal was 100 people. So if you want to participate, this is your company, this is your interest, you have to attend, but quorum is going to be 100 people to have a meeting. The next aspect is the board of directors. This is very critical, and I beg for your attention. But board to minimizing to reducing the number to 11 directors. This is as per international standards. The bigger the board, the harder it is to do business. So the smaller the board, the better. To taking into account interests of our members, into minor representations, different categories of members. So with that in mind, and consultation with members, narrowing it down to 11 directors. Chetwonge Demu is a mixture of skills on this board, a blend, different skills, finance, marketing, legal, leadership, communication, planning. Like my colleague said, UPRS is an institution which needs to make money for its members. We have proposed that to qualify to be a director when you're a member, you must have been registered with UPRS for not less than 3 consecutive years. That's the proposal. We have proposed an addition of independent directors. The independent directors are the ones that may support the blend of skills that suggesting is other people who may have the skills that are not only music or the skills that are not only business that may be useful to UPRS. So we have proposed that you have a minimum of a bachelor's degree in business and other related fields. You must have passed 2 principal passes at your A level, and you must have credits in English and mathematics. And you must be of reputable character, high moral standard. You must not be bankrupt. You must not have been convicted of a financial related crime, because this is financial management. You must be of sound mind, and above 18 years of age. If you have demonstrated expertise and experience relevant to UPRS activities, that's an added advantage. The proposed term of directors is 3 years with eligibility for re-election for 1 more term. tetwagala abagikwatako, it has to adjust. We have proposed a board nomination process because of the number of the members, for people to have, for people to know their directors. I think part of the feedback that we got was that people did not even know who the board members were and how they were elected. So we have proposed a board nomination process, which is in there, which should happen in time towards the next AGM. Sorry, I'm trying to move fast. The quorum of the board is going to be 7 out of 11, minimum of 7 members. And even the board has an option for a physical or virtual meeting or both, just like we're having one today. To be able to perform better, boards usually work in committees. So we have proposed minimum board committees, but they could expand to any number that they may deem fit. The board always has that option, but also subject to the code of corporate governance and the articles. We have proposed 3 main committees. One is the Audit and Risk Committee. That is a very important committee, which should constitute independent directors, because audit is supposed to be, audit is supposed to be an independent function to check the actions of the organization. So we have proposed that committee. We have proposed the Technical and Finance Committee. That committee is to overlook all the activities of UPRS, but also the finance function. And then we have proposed the Members' Affairs and International Relations Committee. The majority of the members on this committee should be members, and even the chairperson of this committee should be a member. It's really to accommodate all the interests of the members and to make sure that the board attends to member-related issues. The addition here is that a committee, as the law recognizes, can co-opt any member or out of the board members who, by reason of their expertise or experience, can assist its operations on short-term basis, but from time to time. So we have proposed that if a committee thinks that a certain musician or certain personality has qualifications that could enable its operations, your committee, so with consultation of the main board, they can seek that person to come and assist them on their function. I think I have summarized it. I don't know if there are any questions. Thank you for listening.
Ladies, thank you, Madam Chair. Allow me to highlight a few things that I think are important for members. Why has it been necessary? Has it been found necessary to adopt new articles? The articles of association that you had or that are still in force today are really weak. They are, without any sense of exaggeration and with all due respect to the authors, the worst I have ever seen in my 20 years as a lawyer. I am sorry, but it is the fact. I can understand that at the time, maybe UPRS didn't have the resources. Maybe some people thought they could do this, and they probably did a good job based on their level of skill. But for where we are now, we can't continue operating like that. I'll give you an example. The document, your constitution, talks about a governing council. Have you ever heard of a governing council? Because you all know it is a board. So there is no governing council, just if I went by just that example. Just by that example. So, and you know, our law does not recognize an entity called a governing council. The entities you have that have governing councils are normally established by a law. For example, Makerere University has a senate, a council. Those are in the law. We are not established by law. We are established under the Companies Act. So it is important that we conform with the Companies Act. On the issue of quorum, your constitution says 2/3 of the member present. What does that mean? That 3 people can sit here and 1 goes away, 2 people will have quorum for an AGM. Of course, the authors of that meant that 2/3 of the membership. But strictly speaking, that is not what your constitution says. So these things are, and many others I can't even remember. You had 23 board members. I have never seen a 23 board member team. It's, how do you meet? What are the expenses? Even at 11, we have tried to accommodate. So we have got to make sure that we adopt these principles of good corporate governance, which in any event are mandatory because your entity is a public company by law. Because of the numbers, 3,000, so many, and you'll go to 20,000 one day, you cannot, you see there are 2 types of companies, a private company and a public company. Now, for being a public company, the standard of accountability is what? Higher. In a private company, you can't do anything. So you can only maintain the standard higher. So that 23 can't be that. It can't work. 11, we have tried to accommodate everyone and we can pass it. On the issue of board qualifications, it speaks to the code of corporate governance. It speaks to what is required of a public company. By the way, as an entity, this UPRS is actually a financial institution. The day you start getting 5 billion here, 2 billion, you'll see entities like the Financial Intelligence Authority coming to look into it. You'll see Bank of Uganda getting an interest here. So you see, it's inevitable. That is why we need to have a good, up-to-date and a constitution that represents transparency, accountability, and good corporate governance to the best standard that we can avail it. But speaking to you, Madam Juanita, on the question you asked last, where was URSB and Madam? URSB, our recommendations to URSB and Madam Chair will confirm, we recommended the establishment of a CEO supervision unit, specifically to deal with CMOs in the country. I know she told me something, let her tell it to you on what they're going to do here. Thank you very much. So that on the constitution as it is, the one you have, retire it. It is irredeemable. So we adopt something new. That's what we're putting to you.
Thank you very much. I now call upon the members to make a decision on the, yes, please, I see a hand up. And the technology people, you can display.
So, my name is Vian Kushaba. I represent Viva Uganda. I've been a member for the last 10 years of UPRS. And I'm worried on one important area on the constitutional review, mostly on qualifications for the board members. The few years I've been in the music industry is that most of the members are very informal. And if we talk about a degree and those qualifications, it looks like the board members are going to work to do the job for the secretariat. There should be, I would think that maybe the qualifications for the secretariat will be to differ from the board members. The board member is a voluntary job. And if you put those restrictions, it means we will miss many ideas from the informal community, mostly Kadongo Kamo and the band sector. So I'm worried that we may not get representation on the board if you talk about those degrees and other qualifications related to that. I thank you.
Thank you, sir. The board's applications were made, and the next stage that we are going to will show you how many people have applied and which shows the interest and the qualifications of your members. It is, we take note of that. There's a question on those who are online, should the constitution be amended? Would like to make. Yes, the response is online, and also here we would want somebody to make a proposal. Yes, Wisdom Kaye.
Madam Chair, if I just respond to that question, and it's a very valid question. We had the question. Who are the appropriate people to represent this? What kind of qualifications? And we had these debates with the regulator. I want to emphasize that these are the regulator's proposals and recommendations. So they are not ours. For us, we just developed something and proposals, and they had them. But in making this recommendation, in making this proposal, remember I said this is a what? Please say it after me. A public company. Say it again. And it is a what? A financial. Who do you want to trust with your money? Thank you very much, Aldo.
Ladies and gentlemen, if I may bring back the meeting to order. A poll question has been put. Those who are online, should the constitution be amended or passed? I see already people online have voted. 86% have voted for yes, 7% no, 7% abstain. Yes, Mr. Wasula? Somebody? Huh?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Certainly, I'm in for amending the Constitution. But before I say exactly that, I wanted to make one thing very clear. The articles that you are referring to were amended by UPRS, but URSB refused to register them. We made the amendments through Shonubi, and URSB declined to, because we realized they were out of date. We are not, I know I'm not going into details, but yes, they're outdated, they should be amended. Having said that, I'm concerned about, like the other member was saying, the majority of the artists are senior 6 and low and below. So this kind of stiff qualifications are exclusionary, in my opinion. I know it is a financial company, it's a public company, but even to become a prime minister of the United Kingdom, where we get aid from, they don't ask these kinds of qualifications. I am also saying the independent board members, in the amendment, they are not, we don't know how many they are supposed to be, unless we have different copies. The copy I have does not mention how many they are. Are they 11? Are they 2? Are they, it's not there. So once we pass it as it is.
Okay, thank you, Mr.
No, I'm still making a few comments. The other one is, there is a language that a society uses. When you go to any country in Africa, you'll find a revenue authority. We used to call them income tax departments and so on and so forth. So in the lingua of collective management, we don't call them independent directors. We call them consultant directors. So I was requesting that we amend it so that we fit in the language. I'm not against having them, but the way we refer to them in the CMO lingua. is consultant directors. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Wasula. The issues, the allegation that URSB refused to register the amended constitution, I'm not aware unless it was submitted many years ago. So we are not aware. I think let's go into that discussion. We are forward looking now. Let's look at what is on the table and take decisions. Otherwise, we'll have back and forth accusations. And ladies and gentlemen, we have to end this meeting. We have another critical activity to conduct, which is the election of the board members. Rita has an issue to comment on what Wasula raised. What you can, okay.
Thank you, Mr. Wasula. Out of the total number of 11 directors, independents for the first 2 terms of this constitution are going to be 6, the majority. And precisely, and I'm sure you understand the rationale is to steer UPRS the direction that is being proposed. And then after that, the membership can always decide on what they want to adopt.
Thank you.
It will be membership. You know, directors are generated
Let's
from the
give it an
membership.
opportunity. Thank you. About the use of consultant directors, the nomenclature changes. When you look at the corporate governance international standards, they use independent directors. So it means all the same. So whether you use consultant or what, the nomenclature can be used accordingly. So there's no problem with that. I think we have the online people that would want to supplement. I see Muyinda, Rama's hand up, and Dorothy Nabujo.
Madam Chair, may I
They can't
quickly?
talk?
No, they can't.
Okay.
Madam Chair, just to supplement.
The people who have their hands up, can you type in the chat room? Type your comment in the chat room so that we take note of that. But the voting has already been concluded online. Somebody can move a motion, please. Yeah. Yes. Mr. Gombia.
Move a motion, but before I move a motion, I just wanted to bring to the attention the issue of gender. When we talk about gender in the formulation of the board, we have to look into that, considering women, disabled, and whatever, because PWDs have to be represented on the board. So allow me, members, to move a motion to adopt the amendments as Madam has read to us. Can somebody second me?
Somebody second.
Hi, my name is Alan Tonix. I'm a singer, songwriter, producer, performing artist. I've been a member of UPRS for many, many years, much as I've never received a coin of any royalty. And the point I've tried to make is I've heard a lot of people say, you know, we need gender balance, we need PWDs, oh, people, bachelors is too high. I want you to look at this like you said, it's a public company. If you were going to put your money in a bank and they told you that the board of this bank was determined not on the basis of qualification or competence, but just to gender balance and to keep people happy, would you put your money in that bank? Because this is a business, you know. So even if you are the one, we need competence. And the positions on the board have been open for anybody to apply. It is free for anybody to apply. But for as artists who have been, please allow me to speak my mind. Yes, allow me to speak my mind. Like you spoke your mind. Allow me to speak my mind. Well, things have been wrong for so long because of this kind of thinking. We want competence. I want people that I'm confident in. Yes, if you are PW and you're competent, hallelujah. Let's go with it. If you are a lady and you're competent, I support. However, if the only basis of membership is just because we need representation, no, this is a business. This is a business that's supposed to earn money for people. We want people that are accountable. We want people that will perform. That is what we are like. We are all seated here because things are not going right. We can't go back into the same cycle, the same rat race, because these things of UPRS have been going on for so long. So let's, like he said, look forward, but I beg the people, even as you vote, confidence, competence. Who is going to represent you? Who is going to actually do these things they're talking about? Who is going to turn the 170 million into 100 billion? That's what we want. Let's first forget about these other things.
Thank you. So you second the...
So do you second the motion?
Mr. Gombia has moved a motion that we adopt the amendment of the new constitution.
We second it, but on top of that, my colleague here, he talked about bringing in the Kadongo Camels.
Everyone is represented.
It's not, brother.
Everyone is represented. Everyone is represented, by the way. Yes.
However, we gave chance to our fellow artists, our fellow elders, the ones you've talked about. And the truth is, they failed, not so? They tried and they were given their chance, right? Right now we've got a new board. I mean a new committee that is helping us. Our caretakers, they've done what they've done, and we've looked into it, and it's perfectly well, and we're gonna choose the people who are going to take this thing well ahead. At least what we liked so much is that part of education. So we need people whom they can tell and understand something as fast as possible, than someone they can tell, because he has given an example of a bank. Border riders, they can't go there and they say that ono muntu yatukulira wano ku border, therefore agenda abale sente zaffe kubanga banka okitegeera. So let us get qualified people to take ekintu kyaffe ahead, ekintu kyaffe ffenna, not for few individuals.
Thank you.
Hanson Walino.
The motion to, yes, the motion
is put to vote.
The motion was put before us by Mr. Gombia and seconded by Alan Tonix and what's your name? Anson. The secretary has captured that. And from the poll results online, I hope the media team can capture this. It is yes, the people that voted for yes for the amendment to be passed are 88%. No is 8%. Those who abstained, who did not vote, are 5%. So I hereby, yes, and the people here, yes, please. Okay, how many are in for yes here? We need to count them. We need to count. Thank you. Yes. How many are saying yes? I think almost everyone. Secretary, please take the statistics. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 14, 15, 17, 18, 19, 20. Changing the constitution. Yes. To make it better. Yes. 23. Here we have 23 people. And those against it? Those abstaining, those who don't want to vote? Mr. Ursula has not voted? Okay, 2 people. Okay. We now consider, yes. We now consider the current constitution or articles of the Uganda Performing Rights Society amended, and the amendment resolution shall be extracted and registered with the Registrar of Companies accordingly. Thank you. we move to the next stage, which is election of board members. The election of board members, we are going to have the secretariat project, the people that made applications. I hope most of you are logged in. The Zoom will show the people that made applications. Accordingly, 15 applications were received. 16 applications were received from the members of the society, and we are expected to vote or select 5 people. And the criteria that was used was to check the qualification, whether people are members. Those that were not members and applied were eliminated. Those that did not have the minimum qualifications were eliminated, but also the categories of the rights represented. I'm waiting for the Secretariat project to screen share. We have performers, the category of performers. We have the publishers. We have the composers. Secretariat, please move the slides. For the candidates, for the producers, we received applications from the following. Please, whoever is projecting, go slow, or you give me a hard copy of what is being projected. Producers, we received applications from Julius Chaze, Andrew Ahura, Justin Basima, Abasa Remereza, Dorothy Nabunjo. For the category of producers, we will need to take out to vote 1 person. Then for the category of publishers, we have Kasaga Andrew and Serumaga James. Let's go to the next slide. Next slide, please. The performers, we have Louise Luanga, Sarah Zawede, Juliet Sesanga, Rama Muida, Wisdom Kaye under the performers. Those are applications. The composers, we have Dr. Peter Antege, Kalinda Robert, Michael Mujisha, and Team Grace. Those are the candidates, the people that applied. Next. Those that did not submit their academic qualifications because the selection committee was considering all this documentation and the advert was clear. Those that applied and did not submit their qualifications were Julius Chaze, Sarah Zawede, Louise Ruanga, Abasa Remereza, Dorothy Nabunjo. So, which means automatically they were disqualified. Let's go to the next. Those that did not meet the minimum academic criteria or that Kalinda Robert, Michael Mujisha, Kasaga Andrew, Rama Muyinda, and Team Grace. Let's go to the next, because this is the selection that then now, after looking at the 16 applications and the selection committee looking at the minimum qualifications and all the requirements and the submitted documents, we have these in these categories that need to be voted on. Category 1, producers. We need 1 person from these 2 members, Andrew Ahura and Justin Basima. Then you can go to the next, then we shall, yes, there's a vote here. The online people are seeing the electronic, it is electronic. So we want, people are voting for Justin Basima and Ahura Andrew. We are waiting for the results, they are voting. And then when we come here, we shall also take out those that vote for both. Do we have these candidates here? Yes. Are they here?
Mr.
Justin? No, for the first category. Justin Ahura and Andrew Ahura and Justin. Where are you? Justin Basima is here. And where's Ahura Andrew? Ahura is online. So before we disclose what is online, the results so far, can we have a show of hands for the members here? For Justin Ahura, Justin Basima. Justin Basima, secretary, please count. Justin Basima is here.
Voting for Justin Basima.
Yes. You count. We need assistance here. The secretariat. Even UPRS team, please come and help. We need to verify. Here for the physical meeting, how many votes do we have for Justin?
Voting is strictly for members, please. Only members. Only members.
Here, Justin Basima had 33, and then Ahura Andrew. How many are voting for Ahura Andrew? One here. Oh, wait, I think he's online. Ahura is online. Please, whoever is admitting members, admit them. Don't keep people in the waiting room. Admit members. Yeah. Yes. Here, allow me to pronounce that on the category of producers, we had 2 people contesting, Justin Basima and Ahura Andrew. On the virtual platform, the poll results are that Justin Basima has 82%, which is 36 votes, and Ahura Andrew has 10 votes, which is 23%. And at the same time here, Justin Basima got 33 and Ahura 1. So we now pronounce Justin Basima to be on the category of producers as a board member. Okay, let's go to the next category. On the publishers, from the applications and the categorization, and the committee found Serumaga James competent and there was no competitor. We would like to know whether Serumaga James is here. Can you, by the way, we'll give you an opportunity to talk to the members because members online want to hear your voices. Maybe Justin Basima, you can be given a minute to say a word. Okay. Serumaga Sebo, you are unopposed. So online, we cannot vote because you are the only one in the publishers category. So that makes you a board member elect on the category of publishers. You will speak later. So you stay there, we'll speak later. Let's have the next category. The next category, Secretariat. The next category on performers, we have, my system has gone off. We have, it's coming back. Somebody help who is online.
Sorry, the new normal.
Please, somebody read for me who is online. We have the category of performers. We have Juliet Sesanga and Wisdom Kaye. And in this category, because the performers represent the majority of UPRS, we decided to take 2. So in other words, Juliet Sesanga and Wisdom Kaye qualify. So they can come here. We'll give them an opportunity to talk to the members. Yes. So let's go to the next category. The next category, members. The next category is of composers. Now for the composers, we need one. Sorry, my system. Somebody help. The screen sharing, kindly display that. We need one person from the category of composers. The screen is off. Please, whoever is sharing the issues of technology, give us the names again, project the names. The category, we are now on composers. On composers, we want one person from the two. We have Dr. Peter Ntege and Ahura Andrew. So we are going to vote on one between Dr. Peter Ntege and Ahura. The online team is already voting. Let's have by show of hands those that are voting for Dr. Ntege. Is Dr. Ntege here? You're representing him? AKA Peter Nawe. That's the stage name. The stage name is Peter Nawe, but he's Dr. Ntege, a medical doctor who is a composer. So the other one is Ahura Andrew. So can we, the online family has already voted, is already voting. Let's have by show of hands those that are voting for Dr. Peter Ntege. Please count.
Well, you don't know love is in the air. If you have a love, put your one in the air.
Dr. Ntege, how many does he have? Dr. Ntege has 39. Let's have Ahura Andrew. Ahura Andrew. Anyone voting for Ahura Andrew? Okay. From the physical or scientific meeting, Dr. Ntege has 39 votes and Ahura Andrew 0. And from the online team, Dr. Ntege has 31, which is 78%, and Ahura Andrew has 9, which is 23%. And we now pronounce Dr. Peter Ntege to be on the category of the composers, and he's represented. This marks the end of the members' board. Allow me to go to the next category of the list of members that were proposed were selected by the regulators, that is URSB. Please take us through, Secretariat. Please, the members who have been voted, you have a minute to greet your people, so don't go away. Secretariat, we are waiting for you to project. The board appointees or the independent board members that were selected by the regulator as per the law are as follows. These ones, we don't need any voting. They are selected already. We have Dr. Patrick Mangeni, who is the Associate Professor of Applied Theatre. He's the Dean, School of Liberal and Performing Arts, College of Humanities and Social Sciences at Makerere University. He's the one who teaches all artists. So he agreed to be on the board. So members have also worked. His work experience. Dr. Patrick Mangeni is a member of the International Board Advisory. Please, I am reading, whoever is moving the slides, he's a member of the International Advisory Board of Applied Theatre and Research Journal. He's a member of Associate Editors Board, Africa Theatre Journal. He's a member of the Executive Board of Africa Theatre Association. He's the Secretary of the Executive Committee of International Drama and Education Association. He is a head of Department of Music, Dance, Drama Faculty, was the head of Music, Dance and Drama Faculty of Arts, Makerere University. Next. Next, please. Can somebody coordinate with the secretariat? Moving the slides. He was also the a member. He's also the member of UNESCO Creative Writing. The speed of has moved. Okay, that is Dr. Mangeni. His profile will be projected on your the members on the website. Let's go to the next person. Next person. The next person is Mr. Robert Semakula. Mr. Robert Semakula is the managing director of BBS Terefina. He is the CEO of DMAC Company Limited in Uganda, South Sudan, Burundi, and Dr. Congo. He's also the director of Wireless Service Providers Association of Uganda. Next. I wish somebody can coordinate the team that is running the slides. The next one, the next member, I hope you have received Mr. Robert Semakula. Huh? What's the name? Mr. Robert Semakula, is he received? The MD of BBS Terefina. The next member is Mr. Kabito Karamaji, who is the caretaker. He is a managing partner of Legomac Advocates, who has been the caretaker manager. He's a receiver, he's an expert. He's also the receiver and manager of, he was also the receiver and manager, are you still? Of WBS TV. Yes. So we present you the same. Let's go to the next person. The next one is Mr. Okelo Sam. Mr. Okelo Sam is the chairperson, Board of Trustees, Uganda National Cultural Center. He's a performing artist, actor, culture entrepreneur, and peace advocate. That's the next person. The next one is Mr. James Sabola. He's he's the Assistant Commissioner, Staff Compliance, Internal Audit Compliance at Uganda Revenue Authority. He's the CEO of Akamai Global, the firm that offers consultancy services in business, management, finance, audit, and more. Mr. James Sabola. Next, and the last one is Miss Gertrude Wamala. Miss Gertrude Wamala is a daughter to the late Eli Wamala. She's a partner, an advocate in Sebalulule and Company Advocates. She has a wealth of experience. The slides are not moving. She was the corporate secretary, the company secretary, Stanbic Bank. She's the chairperson, Board of Trustees of Stanbic Bank. She's been a director, or she's a director in the League of East African Directors. She's a director in Financial Sector Deepening Limited. She's a director in Centenary Bank Provident Fund. She's a director in KCB. She's a director in AK Life Services Uganda Limited. So I think that's all. The regulator hereby presents 6 directors: Mr. Semakula Robert, Mr. Kabito Karamaji, Mr. James Abola, Professor Mangeni Patrick, Mr. Okelo Sam, and lastly, Wamala Gertrude, to you as part of the board. I hope you have no objection to the members that have been presented to you. They are capable and have the competence to run this institution to the level that we want. I now would like to invite the people that are here. just the members that have been elected and are here, please, you have 1 minute to greet the people before we close this meeting. And to the online team, please pick any comments.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name once again is Juliet Sesanga, a performer with quite a lot of expertise and experience in that field. I am an arts teacher in that I teach fine art, music, dance, and drama on a professional level. And I hope to take Uganda's music to the next level by promoting it to an international standard. I want all of you to experience the international stages that I have experienced and are yet to experience. Thank you so much for putting your trust in me. God bless you, for God and my country.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Justin Basima, abasinga kumumanya Justin Bass owa Super Chiraka. I am on the Uganda Missions Association Committee, UMA, as the media representative, and I think I've represented the media so well. I'm also a show host at NBS TV, a music show in particular, entertainment. I've been in the industry for over 12 years now. By the way, 2 years in the industry, those who don't know. I've been in management, executive production of music for over 10 years. I thank you so much for your votes and for entrusting me. I promise I will work with the team, with the fellow board members, the music industry. Thank you so much.
Wow. I am Kaye Wisdom, mutabani w'omulalo omubwati. Abala bali ku byabwe. Akagato, okay. Oh, no. I'm a certified public accountant. I do practice with same accountants for 7 years right now. Banange ndi muyimbi. Newankubadde mulinga abaga siri muyimbi. Ndi award winner wa Oliver Awards, Pop Song of the Year, era naliko nominated nga Best New Artist. Nze kyenjagala ekintu kiri kimu kyokka ekindeese ku board eno. Ekindeese ku board kuba musirikale wa ssente z'abayimbi. Kyekindeese kye kyali kinwanisa. Natandika dda siina buzibu na muntu yenna namukulembeze, naye I trust God with all these guys be mentioning the expertise zaabwe. Twagala okulaba nga abayimbi artist baba basanyufu mu nsawo ne pile esenge gwawo. Era bwe kinannema ndidda ne mbagamba nabagambye abawuma nti nze omwaka gumu gwokka I will come, you evaluate me ku bye nabasuubiza, bano tebatusobola, tujja banyeenya. Nedda kyangamba si bano nsalanga busazi sidda kyekyo kye mbasuubiza.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Protocol observed. My name is John K. I happen to be the Uganda Songwriters Association chairperson, and I represent the Uganda Songwriters on the National Culture Forum. So I'm standing in for Dr. Peter Ntege, who is popularly known as Peter Nawe. He's a professional doctor. So we are looking at this kind of opportunity to have insurance for the artist because he is working in the same field. He works with IHK Hospital. So with the kind of corporate management that the experience that he's been having, we promise that we're going to give great service. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Era nze akiggadde. Serumaga James ge manya gange. Nja kwesa Oluzungu n'Oluganda. My name is Serumaga James. Professionally, I went to Gulu University and I did quantitative economics, and I work with MK Publishers for 6 years now. I own and I founded a foundation, Serumaga Foundation. I'm the director and the manager of Njuve Entertainment. I'm a secretary on so many boards of youths in Kampala. Naye, mubufu webumu, yebimu ku biroto byange. One of my dreams has come true, to be part of a collective team that stands together for art.
I have been part of this arrangement ku ground era abantu bangi bamanyi newankubadde abantu baagala nnyo obutaala naye bano bonna bamanyi ku ground gyendi era I'm so happy that not even anyone who stood against me. Qualification nzi muyivu ate nga ne ku ground gyendi manye ebintu bingi and I'm going to do my best. I promise the country that the 3 years of service with UPRS mudduke mwekweke abagala ebikyamu ngenda bayuzaayiza neyanziza.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to really take this opportunity to appreciate you for your cooperation. I thank you. Oh, Mr. Rere Mkwano Gwange. You still have, please give Mr. Rere a microphone. He has an issue to raise. Mr. Rere. We are closing the meeting. We wanted people to leave in time.
Yes, thank you. Well, no problem. I'm asking you one question. First, where are we going to forward our other remarks to you, URSB offices,
Yes.
or here?
Yes.
Now,
Mr. Rere, you know my office.
Yes, I
and
know.
It's always open for you.
And I'm glad that you are part of us. I pray that you fulfill the promise you made to some of us during COVID. Never promise a musician I don't fulfill. In COVID, we are very
But we
tough.
have delivered here.
Now, to Ruera as a person. Now, I'm appealing to my fellow artists. Please, those of Mr. Wisdom Kaye, I think you need to know this. I'm appealing to you, the members, especially those who are voted and those who are not voted.
Yeah.
Please, the tendency of going from one radio station to the other, tarnishing someone's name, should stop. We need to move ahead. There are very many years wasted. Most of us have not received royalties because complaints have been here and there. Number two, Mr. James Wasula, I think he deserved some kind of civilized farewell. We need to bid farewell to him, but he has not been included on the board. And I think he's an asset to Ugandan music. I've not had any kind of appreciation from an official one, a formal one, to Mr. James Wasula. Sure, leadership is like a shield. They say, whoever's not taken into the steps, of wealth, much as there might have been some weaknesses somewhere, but at least has fought so many wars to make UPRS stand up to today. Some of us know that. I think I should say, for God and my country, God bless you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ruele. You're going to lead us in prayer before we close, but I want to take this opportunity to thank all of you, the team that is online. I want to take this opportunity to thank all the performers, all the composers, the publishers, the producers, and the leadership. And really, when I was making remarks, I appreciated the leaders that have held UPRS up to this time. I appreciated them. And we still appreciate it. It's because of that foundation that institution is still here. So let us not blame. But we want positive vibe. We want to ensure that the board works. And we shall be announcing the date of the board retreat and training because we want to start business with effect from now. And I thank you very much. Let's have a blessing of prayer from Mr. Rele himself, since he always puts on that rosary. I know he's a prayerful person. Mr. Rele, you give us the Omukisogo.
Thank you very much. Members, can we humble ourselves? From I'm a Catholic, and I'm saying in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Almighty Father, we thank you very much for having convened us together here as members of one family. We pray that whatever we've discussed today, you bless it. Will you bless it? May your angels, those who are responsible for our talents, may they descend upon us so that we will take our music to the next level, so that we benefit from our talents because we got them from God. In the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, amen. And let's say our
The meeting
organizers.
is ended.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, this is an LOB. We pray that the next AGM, please, we are musicians. The next AGM, we showcase our talents. We have to get some dance, please.
This one will be in a bigger facility without
All right.
COVID, and we shall have performance and recognition.
All right, thank you.
www.anchorsound.com.
I hope you like it.